Hi everyone, and welcome to another class with me, Stephanie, here at Linguistiko. This class is called Synonyms, and today we are going to be discussing what synonyms are, the importance of using them, how to use them, and what resources we can use to help us learn new synonyms and incorporate them in our spoken English and in our written English. So this class is for intermediate or advanced students, and we're just going to be going from basic words in English to more specific words in English in this class. So anyhow, I have some nice activities, some interesting activities for us to do during this class, and we're going to get started here in just a little bit. So today, yes, I have, oh, here's Anatoly. Hi, Anatoly.
Hello, Stephanie.
How are you? Good?
Fine, yeah. Thank you.
I
How are
know
you?
the question seems kind of silly, right? But it's just ask, even if I saw you 2 hours ago.
Yes.
Do you guys
It
have
is.
the same thing in Russian? Do you say "How are you" in Russian also?
Yes, but we include in that question more meaning. It is exactly question usually. How are you? What happened with you? Uh, etc. Not just welcoming.
Ah, okay. Maybe I need to change it. Maybe instead of saying "How are you," I just need to say "Welcome to class." Because if not, sometimes I see students every 2 hours and I'm like, "How are you? Like, what happened in the last 2 hours?" And it's kind of with you. Um, but anyhow, hey, I'm going to lower my bandwidth again, um, just because I was having some troubles with my other class, as you know, and I hope that this class will go a little bit smoother. I don't like the way it makes me look. It makes me look kind of pixelated, but oh well.
For me, the previous class, I mean, technically, was perfect. I didn't see troubles. Usually, it is usually when sometimes the voice is breaking up, but it happened seldom enough, not often in the
Oh,
previous class. From my computer, maybe my internet connection was better than or other.
yeah. So maybe it could be a problem not just on my end, but maybe on the other students' end as well.
Maybe.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully with this lowered bandwidth, after the hour, let me know if it seemed a little better or not. Because I honestly prefer to use the normal bandwidth if possible because I think there's next you to see me better, and I don't know. But just let me know at the end of class.
Hmm.
Great. Hi, Ksenia. How are you?
Hello, Stephanie. I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing good. Welcome to our synonyms class. In
Thank you.
this class, in this class, we're going to be talking about the importance of synonyms. We're going to be learning a few, but here's the thing. There are so many synonyms. I mean, for every word that you say, you could technically use a different word. So, I mean, I'm not really going to teach a bunch of different synonyms, but what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys resources when you need to look for synonyms, and we're going to do some exercises with trying to incorporate synonyms into our spoken language and into our written language. And also, I have a really funny clip to share with you guys that has to do with synonyms. Do you guys know the show Friends?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ksenia, I didn't hear that. Do you know the show?
Yes, I just watched a few series.
Oh, good. So maybe you guys have even seen this clip that I'm going to show you, but I think it's hilarious. Um, and it's a scene where Joey has to write a letter of recommendation to an adoption agency for Monica and Chandler, and he's like, "Oh, I can sound smart," you know, and so he uses a thesaurus when he's making his document, and he changes like every single word to the point that it doesn't make sense. But anyhow, it's really funny and it's related to what we're doing, so I'm going to share that later when all the students come. So you guys will need the YouTube application. But anyhow, let's get started. So I have a link, hopefully this link works, to a chart that has some basic words with synonyms. So let me know if you guys are able to open this.
I'm open. I open.
Good.
Opened.
Good. Anatoly?
It is opening now.
Good. Okay, so it looks probably kind of small, but you should be zoom. And top says other ways to say, and then in yellow it has words like nice, good, bad, sad, happy on top, and on the bottom it says laughed, like, said, big, and little. Now the words in yellow are very basic words. Oh, and there's, sorry, that's the middle, and then in the bottom it says ran, walked, pretty, looked, scared. So the words in yellow are basic words that probably people who are beginners learn when they're first learning English. And then the words that are with each box are words that are a little bit more descriptive, a little bit more accurate. And this is important because I could say, oh, he's a nice man. And, you know, we do use the word nice. We do say, oh, she's a nice girl, she's a nice man. But sometimes, especially when we're writing, for example, it's nice to be a little bit more descriptive. So you could say, he's a thoughtful man, or he is a very generous man. So there are words that are a little bit more, what do I want to say, like accurate, basically, or descriptive. So I want us to read through this entire chart to warm up our brains and to start thinking out. So here's what we're going to do. We are each going to take a box. So Anatoly, you can do the nice box. Ksenia, you can do the good box. I'll do the bad box, and we'll just keep rotating. But just go and read through those words out loud. Does that make sense?
More or less.
So Anatoly, you would do nice, and you would say, okay, other words for nice are enjoyable, pleasurable, thoughtful, and you would read through all of the words that are. Okay, so go ahead and share those words with us. We're gonna read the document together.
Nice, enjoyable, pleasurable,
Thoughtful.
Thoughtful, yes. Courteous.
Good.
Courteous. Lovely, likable, pleasing, gracious, congenial, cordial, admirable, considerable, considerate.
Good. Okay, and Ksenia, please read the words for good.
Excellent, amazing, wonderful, pleasant, marvelous, exceptional, fantastic, super, outstanding, terrific, splendid, stupendous.
Good. And I'll go ahead and read bad. Awful, rotten, naughty, mean, dreadful, nasty, wicked, lousy, terrible, unpleasant, disagreeable, and wretched. Now, do you guys have any questions about any of the words that we have read so far?
I remember when I read lovely, I remember the line from My Fair Lady. The first one, then hero of began to study language, proper language. She said lovely, and in the last part she said lovely. Can we use both of them in a spoken language, or
lovely?
Exactly lovely? Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You could say it's a lovely day. Day. It might be more common to say it's a beautiful day, or it's such a nice day. That's the other thing with synonyms. What I wanted to teach in this class today is that when you're writing generally has to be how do I say this? Like in your writing, every word has to have a purpose for being in the sentence. If it doesn't have a purpose, you got to take it out. With speaking, that's not necessarily the case. And so with writing, we tend to use a lot more synonyms, like one-word synonyms, like it was an awful day. But when we speak, maybe we can say it was such a day. Okay, so with our spoken synonyms, basically, a lot of times we're just adding adverbs and adjectives in front of nouns and things like that, and that's how we change it. We don't necessarily swap out one word for another. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So maybe we use nice and good and bad and sad, but instead of saying I'm depressed, we say I'm really sad, or I'm super sad. So be more synonyms, I guess, in spoken language. Because, like, for example, let's go to the sad list. Down in towards the bottom, it says sorrowful. This is a very colorful word, and what I mean by colorful is that when I read it, it's almost like I can feel it, I can see it, you could even smell it. It's like your senses just come alive when you read a word like this. But this, being such a colorful word, is more like a word for literature. It's not necessarily a word we use in our spoken English. The same thing with forlorn. Okay, this is a word that you would probably read in a book. Now let me ask you again. The same. Oh, Fernando, hi. I didn't hear you come in. Fernando, are you there? Fernando, are you there? Okay, well, anyhow, guys, so I'm wondering, do you guys have the same thing in Russian? Are there certain words that are more for books and other words that are more for the oral language?
Yes, we have.
Language?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
It's similar.
Yeah. So hopefully I think it would take like eternity to say this is a word we use orally in our oral language, and this is a word that's written, and this is this, and this is this, and to have to classify that. And also I think it's difficult for people to remember. So I think the best way you're going to learn this is just with continued practice. By watching TV shows and by reading books. You'll learn, you'll continue to learn which ones are more for spoken language and which ones are more for written language. Hi, Fernando. Welcome to class.
Hello. Sorry that I wasn't hearing. I have to attend something, but right now I'm here.
No worries. No worries. Okay, here is the link that we're looking at right now. We're just gazing over some synonyms. Okay. So go ahead and click on that link, and I will have you read the box. You're going to see a chart. Go ahead and up at the top where it says happy, underneath it gives us a whole bunch of other words that we could use to say happy,
Okay.
to say or to write it. So go ahead and read what you see in the box for happy.
Okay. Cheerful, delighted, pleased, glad, joyful, ecstatic, content. How we I don't know how to pronounce. Jovial, amused, merry, thrilled, elated.
Good. And that word is thrilled.
Thrilled. I don't know. I'm not sure about thrilled. Thrilled.
Oh, you don't know what it is?
Not exactly. I remember that I have heard that word before, but I'm not sure about the meaning.
Okay, I could say I am so thrilled because I'm going to go on a trip to Spain, and I'm going to get to go to Barcelona and Madrid. I am just thrilled. I've been wanting to go to Spain for 10 years.
Okay.
So it's like really excited.
Okay. I mean, I was confused because there's also kind of movie genre called thriller. I don't know if it is related.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
it is related. It is related because a thriller is something that it excites you because the plot is twisted and it's like it could be like part mystery, part action movie. And so that's why it's called a thriller because it's thrilling, it's exciting. Yes.
okay, nice.
But thrilled, the connotation that it has in spoken English is a positive, exciting. It's not necessarily, it's not a negative. It's not a negative thing. That's another thing that has to be studied when we study synonyms. It's not just the synonym, because I could say, for example, let's go here and look for the sad ones, okay? So I
Okay,
could say unhappy, and I could say sorrowful. Okay? Now, if I had to put these words on a scale of which ones are stronger, which ones are like more sad, and which ones are less sad, unhappy is less sad. I could be like,
yeah.
well, I'm unhappy because I wanted to go shopping today and I couldn't go shopping. But sorrowful, maybe if I was kidnapped from my home and sold into slavery and I lost my entire family, then I would be sorrowful. Okay?
Well,
So that's a
I
really extreme example, but that's what I
yeah.
mean. That's
Okay.
why we have to be careful when we use when we pick synonyms to use, because we can't just say, oh, this means sad, and because then maybe you'll write a sentence and say, I was very sorrowful because my pen broke. And that's kind of like, what? You were sorrowful because your pen broke, but sorrowful means like your heart is literally shattered and broken. So it would be like an exaggeration. However, some writers, they like to purposefully exaggerate. So they could say, I was sorrowful because my pen broke, and that would be a direct exaggeration. So, but there's a difference between a writer who knows what he's doing, exaggerating, and somebody who's not really sure how to use synonyms and they're just throwing things out there. I mean, I remember when I was younger and my brother and I were in similar grades, and he was learning synonyms, and he would start speaking with that, be like, just because you learned that sorrowful means sad doesn't mean you can just say, I'm so sorrowful right now, because it's not the same thing. So when you guys look up synonyms, make sure you check out the connotation. If you're writing a paper, look for examples of how that word is used in other sentences. That way you make sure you use it appropriately. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. So when you guys do, let me ask some questions first. You guys all study English. Does anybody here constantly look for new ways to say what comments like good or nice? Do you guys try to get new vocabulary on your own?
When we are welcoming each other, I'm okay with traditional words like "Hi, how are you?" I used to speak in that way, and it is comfortable as a first introduction in the class.
Good. Okay. Does anybody ever look for synonyms, like if you're writing a paper, or if you're like, man, I keep using the word big. What other words exist that isn't big?
Well, I'm not looking directly for synonyms. I mean, what I do is usually when I'm reading, I keep the new words. I mean, I like to read a lot, and if all the new words, I'll write it down, and then I go check up them later. And also sometimes I do this sometimes. Well, this is another thing I will tell you right now, that sometimes I enter to the freedictionary.com. It's not a kind of advertising, but I mean there is a kind of label in a part of the page there is a topic called the word of the day. So each day they give you a new word, like a very strange one or not non-common for non-speaker English.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to sometimes I enter to that page and to have new vocabulary. I mean, could be one or two new words per day. I don't know.
That's good. And that's usually how it has to be, because if you learn too many words in one day, it's like you don't really remember it. Okay, so I want to give you guys a couple of resources right now for to use to look for synonyms. So the first one, you may have heard of it, you may have used it. It's called thesaurus.com, and here's the link. So this is really great because when you're writing a paper or if you just want to learn new ways to say things, go here and you can type in your word, okay? Now, the next one that I have is merriam-webster.com, and then it has / thesaurus. So this is from the Merriam-Webster website. But this is their thesaurus. But what you'll realize is that thesaurus.com is more simple. I want all of you guys to open thesaurus.com, okay? So let's go open that, and at the top it says search thesaurus. And go ahead and put good, the word good, okay? And then search for it. Has everybody done this?
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Good. Good. Okay, guys. So you should see acceptable, valuable, wonderful, rad, congenial, etc. And then it has bad in there. I'm not actually sure why. Bad should be in the antonyms. And then at the bottom you actually have antonyms, and antonyms just mean the opposite of whatever good is. So this is a really cool resource to get a lot of words into your vocabulary really fast. And then whatever word you don't know, of course, you can look that up. Now go to the second resource and type in good again. Go to the merriam-webster.com and type in good. And what you'll see is that this resource is more complete because it's from like an accredited dictionary resource. And so it gives you a lot more information. First, it gives you meanings for good because good can be, number one, it says based on sound reasoning or information. And the example is, had enough information to make a good assessment of the situation. Then they give you synonyms for that good assessment. It would be common sense, firm, hard. And then they have the second meaning for good. So what they do is they give you different meanings for good, and then they give you synonyms according to those meanings. So there's a lot more to it. You can go down and you can see that there's like 19 different meanings of good that they give here, and then they give synonyms for each one of those meanings. So it's very complete. So has anybody ever used thesaurus.com or the merriam-webster.com?
No.
No.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, then that's okay because now you guys know these resources and you can save these websites because they're very good websites. Okay, guys. So next thing I'm going to do before we start doing some activities is I'm going to share a clip from the series Friends, and it has to do with synonyms, and it's really funny. So anyhow, we're going to do that now. So make sure you have your YouTube application open. And it'll start automatically.
Great. Very funny. We can
Yeah,
see
I
it.
liked it. Have you guys seen that clip before?
No.
No.
Okay, so what is a full-sized aortic pump?
Hot.
Yes, it's as hard, okay? So, anyhow, what I'm gonna do, you guys, just because I think this part was so funny, I'm gonna share this clip with you guys in chat in case you guys want to check it out again later and listen to it again. But anyhow, so this is a lesson for us on synonyms. What do they teach us with this clip?
That we should use the most appreciate synonym, not just we like. So we use in their how to say, in their full I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, that we can't just look at a bunch of synonyms and go, wow, that one makes me sound smart, and use that one because it can make you sound really not smart. His name is Joey Triviani, and he signed it Baby Kangaroo Triviani. Now, do you guys know what a kangaroo is, first of all? It's the animal that comes from Australia and that like hops around like this and it balances on its tail. A
Yes.
kangaroo. You guys have heard of this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So anyhow, he signed his name Baby Kangaroo. Do you guys know why?
Because it's joy. It's a synonym of baby kangaroo, maybe.
Basically, a baby kangaroo is called a joey. A joey is a baby kangaroo. So since his name is Joey Triviani, he signed the letter baby kangaroo Triviani. He was like, yeah, I'm using synonyms. I sound smart. And he sounded like a complete idiot. So anyhow, guys, I have a little exercise for us now. I'm going to share a document over here, okay? So go ahead and open this document, and you're going to see your names, and you're going to see some words, okay? So I have Andy Ksenia, 1, 2, 3. Now, here it says small boy, big tree, interesting person, mean man, okay? And here's the assignment. I want you guys to use the resources that I gave you, and I want you to change those words and get creative. Okay, so you could say a petite boy, a tiny boy. You could say anything, but I want you to change the words that are common, like small, big, interesting, mean. Okay, change those words and get creative with it. Use the resources that I gave you. Don't just, oh, tiny is another word for small. Like, try and find something even more original. The goal is for everybody to have different synonyms, okay? And also, I want to say that the synonyms that you guys look up, they don't have to be exactly the same meaning, okay? But the general idea, okay? The general idea.
Okay, and only
So,
one word, yeah? One
yes, only that one
synonym.
word. So you guys have 4 words to change. Take a couple minutes on this, you guys. Please try to use the thesaurus.com at least just to try and use some words maybe that you haven't used before, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Don't rush through this. Okay, here we go. Okay, and you guys, I'm actually going to add a twist. I'm going to add a twist, okay? If you have to check whatever you write, you have to check and make sure no other student has written that, because I saw short twice already, and I want everybody to choose different words. Okay, so Anatoly was the first one to write short, so Fernando, go ahead, and you're gonna have to choose a different word. Good job, you guys. Good. This looks really good, you guys. Okay, so we're going to go through it and then we're going to take it a step further, okay? Okay, so Anatoly wrote the short guy, and he even put a picture there for us. How cute is that? Okay, did you guys know that another way to say short person is a midget? Did you know that?
No.
A midget. Okay, a midget or a dwarf. But the thing with this is a midget or a dwarf, it's actually a genetic condition in which the person doesn't grow taller than like 3 feet or something like that. They're just very short people. So this isn't the same as a short boy, because a short boy could be a boy who is at maybe a normal height for his age group. He's just short because he hasn't hit puberty. But a midget or a dwarf, they are actually genetically very short. Now, the interesting thing with this is sometimes people can use these words to exaggerate again. They could say, oh, he's a midget, when maybe he really isn't a midget, he's just a short person. Okay? So that's just a little extra knowledge for you guys. Good. So short guy, massive stalk. Now, this was really interesting, Anatoly. Did you know the word stalk here for tree, or did you look this one up?
I compared it. I think it is what produced from the trees.
But did you look this word up just now, or did you already know this word?
I found it in the resource and I compared it with my language. I think we can say using that way when we speak informal,
Yeah.
not formal.
Okay. Well, I just want to say I looked it up and it did say something tree related about a branch, but I have to say when I read that I was like, "Oh my goodness, what does that mean?" Because I know the word stalk. We use it in many different ways, but in this way, meaning a tree, I had no idea that it could be used. It could, but it is something very, very specific. But that's fine. Interesting person, you put intriguing individual, and I like that. I like that because it's not just a synonym, it's not just a change of words, but you also used alliteration. Alliteration is when the first sound of the words are the same, okay? So you have intriguing individual, and they both start the same way, and that's alliteration, so it's a creative writing technique. So I really like alliteration, so good. And then mean man, you said tight gentleman. Now this is really interesting because I don't think I've ever seen the word tight used to mean mean. Did you find this on a synonym website?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. I could tell when I was reading it that that it does mean mean man, but it's not something I would have came up with on my own. So very good. And also the assignment was simply to change the first word, and you changed both. But that's fine because it made the phrase overall a lot more interesting. Good. Okay, so Fernando, you wrote little boy. Good. Huge tree. Good. Interesting person. Amusing person. Good. And mean man, selfish man. Good. So I have to say my favorite synonyms you chose were amusing and selfish because those are a lot more specific. Because little is kind of like small. It's one of those words we always use. But that's fine because you still changed it. And the same thing with big and huge. Okay, and then Ksenia, you did the tiny boy. I like that word tiny because it's not used as much as small or as much as little, so when we say it or when we use it, it really creates a visual image. Good. And then the giant tree. Very, very nice. When we use synonyms, it really creates images, more images in the person's mind, the person who is reading or listening, because what happens with words that are overused is we just get used to them. So if I say big tree, I mean, you're going to see a big tree, but it's not going to be as, I guess, stimulating to the mind as giant tree, okay? So I always encourage people to use synonyms in their spoken language and in their written language. Interesting person, fascinating person. Good. And you know the cool thing about this is when you write fascinating person, you're giving the listener or the reader a clue as to your own opinion about this person. Because you can say somebody is interesting, but maybe you don't like them. They're interesting, but you don't like them. Or you can say they're interesting, but you like them. But when we say interesting person, we don't really know if the speaker or the writer likes the person or not. But when you say fascinating, you're basically admitting that you find that person fascinating, because fascinating is less a matter of fact and it's more a matter of opinion. So that's a good word. And then the mean man, modest man. I'm not sure if modest has the same meaning as mean. Did you find this in the thesaurus?
Yes, I find
Okay.
in Merriam-Webster.
Okay. Do you know what modest means normally?
It's shy. Yes.
Modest. Modest, it could be shy. Sometimes it could also mean well-mannered or humble. A modest person could be a humble person. This is not a word that we normally see to mean mean. Modest man. I'll look into this. But you guys, I want you to take this a step further now. And what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to make creative sentences with these words. Short guy, massive stalk, little boy, huge tree. Make sentences out of these. But here's the thing. I don't want you to use simple words like small and big and nice. I want you to challenge yourself. So you can start off by writing a simple sentence and then use the thesaurus to look for better words, okay, more colorful words, words that that are synonyms for common words. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so guys, 4 sentences, create a sentence, say whatever you want in these sentences, but just let's look for the most creative way to say things as possible without doing the baby kangaroo thing, where it becomes like where we can't understand it. So we still have to be able to understand it. And go ahead.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just with the four words that that we had, or we have to create another ones.
No,
I mean,
just these four now. But the thing is, just try and make your sentences as creative as possible.
okay, okay.
So now go and edit your sentences and see if there's any way you can be more creative or change a common word for maybe a less common word.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, good. We'll wait one more minute and then we'll start going over the sentences. Anatoly and Fernando, just let me know when you're done, okay?
I've done.
Okay, good.
I'm done as well.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to start up here at Anatoly's sentences. He says, his small height was really worried him, and he wasn't happy when the friend called him short guy. Good. Okay, we're just going to change a couple things. His small height, here we could say, instead of saying his, well, small height is technically correct, but we could say his shortness, that's one word, or we could say his petite size.
And Google Translator gave me he was small in stature.
Yes, small stature. That's another good one. Good. And instead of saying was really worried him, we can just say really worried him. Worried is the verb here. So really worried him, and he wasn't happy. And he wasn't happy when his friends called him short guy. Good. Okay, a very massive tree. Here's the thing. When we say very, we want to say like a very big tree. But if we're going to say massive, that word is so powerful already that we don't need very. So we can just say a massive tree fell down onto the car during the last hurricane. Good. She looked as a very intriguing person when she kept silent. Okay, she looked as we're going to say like. She looked like a very intriguing person when she kept silent. Good. Being a mean man is not a good feature for the Prime Minister. Good, Anatoly. I noticed that you have very good vocabulary. Sometimes using possessives like his and her or the and a is complicated for you, but that's okay because everything still makes sense. It's just focusing and learning on when do you put the a or the or the his, and that's you'll get that.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Okay, Fernando. A small boy. The little boy was really amused when he went to Disneyland. Good. Big tree. There was an enormous, this doesn't need to be capitalized, an enormous, but it needs to be an enormous tree in the middle of the park. Good. This thing while I was on the bus, it would simply be I met. This morning while I was on the bus, I met an amusing person. And again, this doesn't amusing doesn't need to be capitalized. We only capitalize words at the beginning of a sentence and proper nouns. And then he turned out to be a selfish man. Good job. Okay, Ksenia, here we go. When I was a tiny boy, I used to fish. We're going to take off the ing. I used to fish.
Okay.
The baobab, I don't even know how to say it. Baobab is the most giant tree all over the world. Okay. We wouldn't say most giant tree.
Yes.
We could say most gigantic. It's the most gigantic tree. Is this spelled correctly? There we go. Is the most gigantic tree. Is the most gigantic tree in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in the whole world. There we go. Is the most gigantic tree in the whole world. It is very gripping to chat with fascinating people. Good.
Yeah.
I stopped to hang out with him because he is a spoiled man. Okay, I stopped to hang out with him. Oh, I stopped hanging out with him. Okay, when we say I stopped to hang out with him, it means that you stopped and you hung out with him and you talked to him, but you mean that you stopped hanging out with him. I stopped hanging out with him because he is a spoiled man. Good, really good sentences. It is a thing to chat with fascinating people. I like your words there because gripping is a really powerful word, chat is a cute word, and fascinating, very good. So you guys did very well. I wanted to share an example here. I was going to do another assignment, but we ran out of time. If you go to the top, I wrote some simple sentences, and I had this was my example. The sentences are, the food was good, it was a hot day, my mom was angry, the puppy was cute, and the assignment was going to be for you guys to make these sentences more interesting, like this. The example I gave was, the tree was big. Okay? So my sentence said, the tree towered up into the sky and its branches reached out like a canopy in the heavens. Okay? So when we write like this, and even when we speak like this, it makes everything more interesting. So unfortunately, we don't have time to do this, but here's the thing. If you guys want to still do this assignment, you can take this example, the sentence I made, and you can rewrite these, and if you send me a message with those 4 sentences, I'll correct it and send it back to you, okay? So that's what I can offer, but I have to go now because I have to do a class right after this.
Okay.
But anyhow, does anybody have any questions before we go?
I don't have any.
No questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, well, I'll see you guys later. See ya, Fernando, Ksenia, Anatoly.
Okay, bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.